Hey everyone, welcome to the Gyrl podcast. I am Kyra Mitchell Lewis. Apparently, I'm at a loss for words, but thank you all for joining. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope you are having a fabulous Thursday so far. Okay, so it is time for a new career episode today, new career series episode. So let's just do a quick recap of our last episode. I don't know, y'all. My today, blah, blah. Hopefully that's not gonna be our day, right? I'm not gonna claim that. Okay, so the last time we talked about your manager being a hater. So we basically talked about you having a manager that is essentially a roadblock in your career, someone who is not helping you to grow or to get to where you would like to be in your career journey. So we talked about a couple of things. So first, let's look at, some of the ways. So if you're out there thinking, I don't know, what does that look like? I'm glad you asked. So here are some ways that it could look when your manager is hating, roadblocking, all those things. So making all communication go through them. 1, 2, preventing you from collaborating with others. 3, never asking about your career goals. 4, withholding career advancement opportunities. 5, taking credit for all of your ideas. 6, not challenging you to learn or grow in new ways. And 7, keeping you out of the loop on what they're working on, as well as bigger company initiatives. So that's a terrible manager. Just going to put that out there. So if you're experiencing that, I really wholeheartedly feel for you. A person might be doing a few of those things, but not knowing, right? But if you're doing all those things, you're experiencing all those things. Yeah, you've definitely got a hater for a manager. All right. So we also talked about some ways that you can move forward. So one is you can schedule a one-on-one outside of a normal one-on-one. So you may already have one-on-ones with your manager where you talk about statuses for the week, but I would say just set a separate one-on-one where you can just focus solely on career growth and have that meeting too. If nothing happens there, you can reach out to HR or to a next level for advice. I would probably say go the HR route first, because a lot of times you don't want to go to your manager's manager. You want to go to HR to let them give you some advice on, if they are able to sort of have a meeting with you and your manager, or kind of level set there before you go up to that next level. 3, you need to put yourself first, and you need to assess your options. You need to just figure out if this place is the place you need to be. And I think a lot of times, as we talked about in the episode, seeing that HR response is really important, because I think if your HR team moves to do something, if they move to act, not just sit and say oh, well, I talked to your manager, there's not really anything that, we could do, or just sort of taking a look at their response, because guess what? HR is always going to be HR. And if that's the culture in HR, is to not really actively help the employee, but really more so to help the manager and be on the manager side, then I think it lends opportunity for you to consider if it's even a place you want to move forward in. Okay. Number 4 is keep thorough documentation. So when you're experiencing these things, you're not getting the information you need for your manager, they're not giving you any feedback, and you're asking for it. If you're sending emails, if you've got Slack messages, Teams messages, make sure that you are taking screenshots of those things and you're storing them in a place, that you can maintain and keep all the documentation together. The next thing would be also build your network and get and engage with other company like stakeholders. So I think one of the things for me, like in my personal career, was when I maybe had a manager that I wasn't too certain that they were looking out for my best interest. I also always just made a point, and you know what, I would say like it really happened organically for me, because a lot of times when you're in these roles and you're the, you know, sort of worker bee, and you're doing things and people recognize that you're doing things, you build good relationships with like other stakeholders in other areas, like cross-functionally, and having those relationships will definitely help you to just have someone else to talk to maybe if there are other opportunities, which leads into the last one, which is considering a lateral move. So if there are other opportunities in the company, if you really decide like I want to stay here at this company, and I want to be here, and you know, maybe there are some other opportunities that you can consider. All right, so that was our recap from our last career series episode. If you missed the full episode, you can always go back and you can watch it on YouTube, or you can just look back in the platform that you're currently listening on, and you can take advantage of that. All right, so let's move on to today's topic. So I was thinking, just really kind of thinking about what topic I wanted to cover next, what would be a good thing to address. And I started to think about what I've been hearing some people talk about as far as like what's next for them in their career. Right. So, you know, we're out of the pandemic, and many of us are either, you know, still working full time at home. You might be working a hybrid schedule, or you may be fully back in an office. And now that you've had some time there in any of those scenarios, also we're coming up on June. You know, we're getting close to like the middle of the year. And this is normally a time where we tend to assess, right? You tend to look at, how's this year going? How's this aligning to goals that I have set for myself? So I just want to talk through today some questions that you should maybe be considering or asking yourself about what's next for you in your career. I have a lot of questions here, so I'm going to try to get through some of them, maybe all of them. We'll see. Depends on how much I say. But number one is, if I could really have it all, like, as sometimes we say, the dream job, right? What is your vision for your ideal career? I know I'm leaving that there to just give you a moment to think about it. You know, like, what does that look like for you? Maybe you're already in it. Maybe you're in it and you didn't know. But have you like fully thought through, like, of the things that I'm really good at, the things that I really enjoy doing? Like, this is it, like, this is the career. Now, pause. So think about, right, the career versus the place that you're doing the career. Because the career choice that you're in might be the jam. That's the thing, that's the purpose, that's it. But the place in which you're doing it may not be the final landing spot for you. So I think that's really important. So you want to be able to separate, like, the act and the job and the career in versus the location, place, company, who you're doing it for. Okay, it's number one. The second thing is, so, you know, once you have thought about what that vision is asking yourself, does the current job align? As I just mentioned, right? So sort of just really thinking about, like, the place in which I do this work Is it aligning to, does it align to the vision, right? Because you want to look at those things as far as like the right culture, the right opportunities for growth. It's really important that you start to ask yourself, like, ultimately, what do you want for your career? What does progression look like? Okay. Number 3, what do I need more of at my job? It's a fair question. So, is it more training, more personal development opportunities? Is it more opportunities to connect, right? I know a lot of people who may work full-time, like remote jobs, may feel like they need more connection and they want to, maybe have more opportunities to like see the people that they work with, and not just on Zoom or Teams, maybe. Is it that you need more direction, right? Do you need more of a strategic lens? I need to really understand, where the company is going. I want to know what are the key pillars that we're working towards as a company. So just think about those things. Like, what do you need more about the job? And then on the other hand, number 4, what do you need less of? Also something to look at, right? If you are someone who is going on site more frequently for a job, maybe you're saying, I need less days in the office because I am more productive at home. And when I come into the office for 3 days out of the week, I could really come into the office for 2 days, and have those days feel more like meetings, check-ins with people. And then the 3 days at home are more days where I just, really nail down and, head to the ground, head down doing the work that needs to be done. What do I need less of? Ask yourself, do you need less check-ins? Do you need less meetings? So all these things are very valid questions, and they're valid concerns of what you need for yourself to feel like you're on the right progression. All right, number 5, when it comes to my performance in my career at this point, am I more reactive or am I proactive? Just going to let you think about that for a minute. Just like in our companies, I know I've heard in a lot of companies that I've worked at where people are like, we're always so reactive. We're always reacting to something that a competitor did, or we never stay focused on like the strategies that we set into place. Like, we're always just like, well, this happened in the industry, so we gotta get everybody together and do this. And the same thing apply. And honestly, how does that feel, right? That feels very chaotic. That feels like there's no focus, there's no structure, there's no strategy. So the same thing applies to your career. If you're always just reacting when someone makes you mad, right? When something happens at the job or somebody said something and you didn't like it, and now you're like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'll see y'all. Like, I'm about to find a new job. Those are reactionary moments, right? Where something happens and it triggers you to do a thing. But if you're proactively thinking about your career, you're sort of always thinking through, what are the things that you need? I mean, you're thinking about these earlier questions that we've already gone through. What's the vision for my career? Does this job align? What do I need more of? What do I need less of? I would say to you, get yourselves a good I don't know, maybe notebook, journal, if you want to do it digitally, notepad, something, all the same, but to just start to think about those things so that you almost have like lists going, so that when things do happen and it is like you were in a meeting and it was really bad that day, but when you go back to your list and you're looking at like, what do you like? What are the good things, right? You're always kind of weighing the options and not just being reactive. And then on the other side of that, if you were a person who said, I'm very reactive when it comes to my career and my performance, right? So then also like thinking through your performance, like you don't really get worried until it's time for like that mid-year review. And then you start thinking about, oh my God, I got to do something, got to make something happen, right? Got to make something happen so that I have something to put on my mid-year review. So number 6 is you could ask yourself, how can you be more proactive? How can you be a better planner about your performance goals and also what you want for your career? So as we have talked about on some previous episodes, right, about like goal setting, right? So you've probably set goals at the top of the year and you're working towards those. Those goals help you to constantly be proactive in your career because you know that there are things that you've aligned to on the business side, which are things that goals that you want to meet to support the business, right? And the same thing can go for your career. Like, what are the goals I've set for my career this year? And I think you have to be proactive in figuring out like how to meet those goals. Okay. All right. We're done. Number 7, ask yourself, like, what time of the day, when do you have the most energy, right? And how can you structure a work day if you work at home, right? So this is probably more for people. This is a question for people who maybe have more flexibility with their schedule. When you have most energy, how can you be the most productive and how can you structure your workday to take advantage of that, right? So I know some people say, I'm very productive in the morning. And I think even if you're like working in a job that you are going on site for, maybe you're able to get meetings, set meetings in the afternoon, right? So that you have the mornings. Like I personally, on Mondays, I do this. On Mondays, I try to leave my calendar open between the hours of 8 and like 1, so that I can come in and start the week and get settled for like what has to be accomplished this week, so that I am already just thinking about like, how can I set myself and my team up for the best week, right? To accomplish things that we need to get accomplished versus, because there's nothing worse than coming in Monday and you've got like a meeting right at 9. Even if you're working at home, let me just tell you, I work remotely and I don't want a meeting that starts at 9 o'clock on a Monday, even if I'm sitting behind my desk in the comfort of my own home. I just don't. So, all right, number 8, who is someone that you don't normally get to work with or talk to, but is someone that you could potentially reach out and talk to over the next few weeks? Like maybe there's somebody within your team, within the company, in a different area. Because when you're proactively planning, as I'm going to go back to like number 5 and 6, when you're proactively planning for your career, you're always thinking about sort of making connections. And I know you might be listening and saying like, this feels like work, like this, there's more to do. I think like it really happens organically. But I think also too, you have to play an active part in it too, right? Like that's the proactive part of our career. So yeah, find someone that you don't normally get to talk to. And if you don't want to talk to someone in your own company, there are tons of like networking like apps and things that you go on. I mean, go to LinkedIn. And if there's a person who has a career trajectory that feels like in line with yours, then go and connect to them. And if you connect, then maybe ask them if there's a way you could have like a 20-minute like conversation with them. So yeah, reach out and connect and try to have conversations. Okay, number 9. What can you learn now that would excite you? Hmm? Think about things, development. Personal development is always something that companies should be offering to you, right? So think about something that you like to learn, whether it's something within your current industry, something that may not be in your industry. But think of something that you could potentially want to learn more about, want to enhance the skill, and find some training. All right, number 10. What are 2 goals that you can work towards that will help make you a better team member or leader? Or both. So you can have 4, right? So think about that. Is it going to some type of training, leadership training? Is it, I want to learn more about SEO, or Chat GPT? Lord knows everybody wants to know about that. Just is there a skill you can enhance, a new skill you can learn, or a development on leadership side, something that you can develop in. All right, that's number 10. Number 11. Who are 3 people who can help you reach those goals and that you can talk to get some constructive feedback from in the next week or so? So one thing I did at an old job is connected to a mentor. So we didn't have like a formal mentor program at my last job. But I connected to someone who I was always like working with on projects, and he was a director and I was a senior manager, and I just sort of liked his style, like the way he approached work, like the way that he built relationships with other people, and people seemed to like really respect him and his work. And so I just reached out and connected and said, hey, I was wondering if you could be my mentor. And so it was really cool, good relationship. And again, we've talked about on the show about mentorship, and just making sure that mentorship is like a two-way exchange of information. I mean, the mentor is providing, information and tips and assistance and guidance to the mentee. But I think also the mentee also plays a role in helping the mentor as well. So just think about it that way. Somebody that you want to connect to that can give you some feedback. You don't have to go into a full-blown like mentorship, like, 3-month like program with them, but let it happen organically. Just start it with a conversation. And I was wondering if I could talk to you about, and then who knows, it may bloom into that. All right, number 12 is, what books can help you out there? What books, trainings, podcasts, what can help you move the needle towards meeting some of the goals that you want to achieve? So I think it's just really important to, where you can, to get out there and find other things. So aside from people, right? So if you're not ready to take the step of reaching out to a person to help you, then maybe you could start with like some podcasts or some books, or articles or websites, groups that can just help to give you some feedback that might help you with your goals. All right. And let's see, number 13. So we didn't make it through all of them. I don't even know what time it is, but ask yourself, what do I really appreciate about my manager? And how can I help him or her be successful in their role. Because believe it or not, and I know last week we just talked about trash managers and hater managers, right? But when you have a really good leader, you want to see them succeed. You want to help them succeed. You want to help them grow. And I think that is really so important. It's always something that I've been taught, right? And it's just something that you should want to do. Like if you work for your manager, you're working for someone that you feel excited about, you are inspired by their vision and their leadership. Like you want to see them do well, which means, obviously the whole team benefits when the manager wins and succeeds, or they should at least, right? Unless again, you got a trash manager that's not like building up their team. All right. So those were 13 things that you need to consider, or you should be considering at this part of the year as it relates to your career. So some of the answers, some of the things we talked about, right? Your answers might not have come to you immediately, right? Or you might need some time to think about it, which I think both of those things are fine. The idea of this conversation, these thoughts, these questions, and there may be other questions, right? Maybe other things out there that you are thinking to yourself that, oh yeah, this triggers you to a different thought or a different question. But it's really just an idea of like helping you to get to a clearer thought of like where you want to be, because you don't want to get to the end of the year and then say, oh yeah, so I still didn't reach, I still don't know what I'm doing with my career. I still don't know what I'm doing here, or where I'm going. It's just to help you really be like more proactive, to think about what you want from your career, what you want from, a company that you may be doing that career in, and just really figuring out like what's the next best steps for you. All right, so we're just not going to recap through all the questions but obviously there were 13 questions to ask yourself just to help you gain clarity on where you are today in your career. That's the recap, folks. All right. So before I go, remember, you can head over to glowupgirl.com. You can access previous career series podcast episodes, as well as Glow Up Girl interview episodes. Check out our social links, resources, and more. And if you are someone out there, you're listening to this girl, you're like, I'm listening to this Kyra talk, and I'm picking up what she's putting down. And you want to have a chat with me about how I can potentially help you with your career, I would love to talk to you. Right now, I am doing Power Hour coaching. So that is 1 hour. You sign up for it. You bring a question, an issue, whatever. We work through it in an hour. And you don't have to commit to a coaching program, but you get coaching on demand when you need it, essentially. And those power hours look like $75, people. So also, when you visit the website, you can take the Is It Time for a Career Change quiz. So definitely looking at 3 things that you would potentially walk away from. 1, you're happy, you're finding purpose, and you're really trying to figure out, how do I continue to elevate? Number 2 is, I'm okay, not really sure that this is where I find purpose or if I'm ready to elevate, but really trying to figure out, like, how do I get to that next step? How do I discover the thing that I need to be doing? And number 3 is, no, it isn't time for me to pivot. No purpose or joy lives in the day-to-day of what I do. So let's talk. Okay. So you can head up to glowupgirl.com and check out the career page, career coaching page, and you can reach me there. Or you can also send me an email at hello@glowupgirl.com. All right. Well, as always, friends, it's been great catching up with you. If there are any topics that you want me to cover, any questions you want answered, send me an email, or you can find me on Instagram at GlowUpGirl. But until then, thank you, as always, for taking time out of your day to listen. And I will see you all next week. Until then, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everyone.